Now let's get the very latest from SABC senior news reporter Jade Paulse, who joins us now live from Durban Magistrate's Court. Jade, thank you so much for your time. So the court today heard that accused number one in this matter was forced to confess. Just give us a little context there in terms of what this means.
Well, a very good afternoon to you, Unati, and to the viewers back at home. And yes, quite interesting that came out in the affidavit of Lindokuhle Mkhwanazi, saying that he was assaulted and forced to confess to the alleged murder of AKA. But just looking at his affidavit, he was out on 5,000 rand bail for another case, Unati, and also was charged with attempted murder, and illegal possession of a firearm. And that was actually on the 8th of January, earlier this year. He was also arrested in Mtuba last year, and that's where he made those allegations that he was assaulted and forced to confess to the AKA murder. He says he is not a flight risk, and he says that he owns his family owns a taxi business, but that he was also expecting his first child, and those were some of the grounds that he had with regards to the affidavit. He is accused number one in this case. The second accused, or rather the third accused in the matter, but second bail application, was Eddie Miyeza. Now, he is an unemployed 22-year-old from Umlazi, and we also heard very interesting information coming out from his affidavit, where he says that despite being placed by the state at the time and place, the vicinity of Florida Road, and despite 2 calls being made from that particular area and the state saying that he ran away on foot, this is all circumstantial evidence. Well, just to bring us all into context and better break it down for us, I am joined by our legal analyst, Abigail Umgubene, just to talk to us about what has transpired and what this all means for the accused number one and accused number 3. Thank you so much for joining us, Abigail. Quite a lengthy morning listening to those bail applications, which I'm going to go straight into it. They also came very hard on the state, saying that they did not have enough evidence and the state was weak.
Yes, we had that on the affidavit of applicant number one, where his attorney or his advocate was particular to state those charges, particularly the first and the second charges. He even went to the extent that the money laundering charges as well, they don't meet the legal test. But of course, you'll remember that the onus always lies on the applicant to come and adduce before the court to say, on a balance of probabilities, the court must look at his exceptional circumstances, balance that with the interest of justice, and him to bail. There are quite a lot of things that transpired, but what stood out was the fact that they have pending cases which seem to be more similar to what they are facing in this particular case. And I think that the court will still have to apply its mind and take that into consideration and see if they can admit, if the interest of justice does allow them to be admitted to bail.
Abigail, I want to talk about the legal representation in this case. We're looking at big names. We're looking at the first accused being represented, or the second and fourth being represented by Advocate Joe Alvalmarans. We're looking at accused number one represented by Simphiwe Mhlotshwa, accused number 3 represented by Yolanda Gilling. These are not fly-by-night law attorneys. These are very, very high-profile attorneys that are also sitting on other cases here in eThekwini.
Yeah, it is very interesting, because if the accused, the applicant who applied second, say he's unemployed, and if you have people such as a high legal team that is here going together with an attorney of record and the advocate, and that means he employs an attorney, a firm of attorneys, and the firm of attorneys go and solicit an advice from a senior counsel, and together they're being paid by him, then it poses a challenge. But in South Africa, you'll remember that everyone has a right to be legally represented and have legal representative of their choice. So we cannot, in a way, comment further on the nature of legal representation they have here. But somebody who is not employed, you will have expected, of course, to go for legal aid. But that, of course, some have families, some have businesses, like you said, the businesses in the taxi industry. That could also be the source of funds that help them to have such a legal representation.
Well, it's going to be very interesting to see once 3, 5, as well as 4 are also represented. When we go back to court, Anati, on the 18th of March, we did see Lindokuhle Mkhwanazi as well as Sianda Eddie Miyeza furnish this court with a bail application. Will they get bail? It remains to be seen. It's back to you in studio.